So starting out in the city of Sao Paulo, it is very tightly packed, and everyone knows Sao Paulo for its neighborhoods. Everyone knows that Tucuruvi is a slightly fancier neighborhood, especially if you get further into downtown. Villa Sonia, for example, is a much higher class place, and then you have lots of other places that are known as slums or favelas. For example, Villa Paraíso is one of the biggest favelas or slums that are in São Paulo. The areas I served in typically were more middle class to higher class, and it's very much characterized where it's almost like its own little city where it's set up. You'll have a big street down the middle with a couple lanes going each direction for cars, lined with shops on either side of every kind. That's where it's where you'll go for, if you need pictures taken, if you need groceries, if you need to go to the butcher shop, if you need to go to the bakery. Lots of those places are normally lined up on one big street, and then the houses are surrounding it. And houses will normally have much narrower streets, and then people's houses will be, I mean, if you look at the front of it, it's not very big. I mean, on average, about 20 feet across, and then they'll have plots of land that go back pretty far. And then, so Brazilians typically, they have their gate or their garage right in front of the street. There's no sidewalk or anything. You normally, rarely are there sidewalks. But you go in and people have their gate right there, which is why you have to clap, because unless they have a doorbell, they're not going to hear you knocking. So you have to clap through their gate. And then they'll build upwards. So you'll find lots of houses that are 2-3 stories tall. I saw some that were 4 or 5 even. And they'll build it little bits at a time. All Brazilians actually do it like this, where they'll build their floor level, and then as they get more money, they'll start just adding bricks on. All the houses are made out of these huge bricks, and then just stack them up until they finally have a 3-story house or whatever, something that'll fit their family's needs. Each area is going to be a little different. Each neighborhood is going to have its own special features. For example, the kinds of jobs you find people doing in different neighborhoods will be completely different. If you go to a richer neighborhood, which will have more nice, tall apartment buildings, like you find condos here in the States, just skyscraper kind of things, they'll often be doing more administrative jobs. They'll go work at big companies. One of the big ones we found was the airline Azul, which here is actually JetBlue. It's the same company. And as you get into slightly poorer neighborhoods, then people start having much more typical jobs. We've found lots of carpenters. There are lots of people with very, very traditional kind of jobs as we would find them here in the States. Carpenters, grocers, butchers, bakers. You have lots of people who maybe fix watches and have their own little shop. You often see people, especially the women, will have their own little out-of-home stores, and they'll either sell candies or chocolate-covered strawberries, or these little foods we call pastels, which are just fried dough kind of thing filled with cheese or meat or some other things, and they'll sell it all out of their house to get money. And so a lot more just typical kind of everyday jobs. Crime varies a lot as well. If you go to a richer neighborhood, you're not going to find hardly any at all, because all the richer people will live in these condos that are shut off. There's a security guard at the gate. They won't let you in unless you telephone up and the person says, yeah, they can come in. So it's a lot more restrictive, which means there's a lot less crime. However, you do find quite a bit of crime in other areas. The police aren't always around, so I mean, we saw, and I had some friends even who experienced breaking and entering, robberies. There were often quite a bit of drug use around, and you could smell marijuana in the air. transportation-wise, it was normally always the bus, especially if it was in our area. The areas in the city of São Paulo tend to be smaller, so you don't take as much transportation, but when you do, it'll normally be a city bus. If you're going in between neighborhoods across São Paulo, you always take the train. We used to, especially going to the temple, we got to go to the temple every 3 months or so. So we would hop on a bus, go to the bus station. From there we could transfer to a train and ride out to the temple. And that's pretty much what everyone uses. And there are quite a few people with cars, though they don't always use them. Most people will, especially if they're going to work, will take the bus or a train. And Brazilians are kind of special where they don't always live where they're working. Especially if they're poor and it's harder to find a job, they'll often travel 3 hours a day to go to work. I heard of some people who would travel that far. Normally it's closer to an hour or something, which I think would immensely lengthen your work day if you had to travel an hour, 3 hours to your work, and then come back for another 1 to 3 hours. But it's kind of their culture and what they do. If they find a job cleaning houses that is going well on the other side of town, they will take a train for an hour or two every day to go to work, cleaning houses, and then return home so they can bring money to their family. There are lots of single parents, especially single mothers who have children, and those especially will always go out of their way cleaning houses or doing something to just get money for their family. So São Paulo, one of the things it's apparently well known for is its pizza. And I thought it was special because pizza you can find every shape and form. You can find these cheap, nasty pizzas for, in our money, $1 or $2 for an entire pizza. And it's not very good. But you can also find these pizzas which would be 20 bucks easy for one pizza, and they are really good. So you have to be careful about what you get, but São Paulo is well known for its pizza, said to have some of the best pizza in the world. And you can find pizza there in every shape and form. I mean, you can find pizzas with peas on it. I mean, you have your standard, obviously, pepperoni, cheese, maybe Canadian bacon and pineapple or something. But you also get scrambled eggs on your pizza. You get peas. You get 6 cheese pizzas, which are incredible. It's a lot to handle at once. A lot of grease. But, I mean, they just go all out. They'll put about anything on it. As far as places to see, we didn't have a lot of time on our PJs to go out. We were often sitting at home. I washed my clothes by hand for pretty much the entire time. If we had a washing machine, it was very simple and would just spin around. That's it. So, and there were several areas where I had to do all of it by hand, rubbing it and getting all the dirt out. So we didn't have tons of time to go out and do things. As for a while in my mission, we were told to just kind of stick at home more. There wasn't much to do around. But every once in a while, we got permission to go to, there's a street in São Paulo called the 25th of March, 25 de Maio, and it's a huge retail street. I mean, people from all around will buy things in bulk and sell it for super cheap. And we went there for ties a lot because we could find tie sets. I love to get these tie sets with cufflinks and a tie and a pocket handkerchief for just a couple bucks. And I mean, you could find anything there. Most of it was pirated or ripped off or some kind of knockoff brand or version. So lots of it was fake, but it was just fun to go down there. And in that area, you can find the tallest building in São Paulo, the Banespa, and you go to the top and you get to look around and you see the city sprawling out in every direction around you, and it's pretty cool. It's a sight to behold.